Hello and welcome to the TwoFatBrokers podcast. I'm Ben from Abu Dhabi.
I'm Barney from Dubai.
And today we're going to be talking about market trends. We're in July now, 2022. Just going to talk about what's going in the market.
Very hot.
So the big talking point probably, and we'll go through some other bits and pieces, is interest rates. So they went up a fair bit recently.
I was offered a mortgage at 5.5% the other day.
Yeah.
Not indicative of the general market trends, but because I am a real estate agent, I own my own company, I appear to be high risk.
Yeah, untrustworthy. But so as little as 6 months ago, you could probably get a rate as low as 2.2. Now, closer to 4% is the norm. How's that going to affect the market, particularly in terms of new buyers?
Well, I mean, okay, so this opens up an interesting dilemma. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and my question to her was, do you want to take a mortgage now at 3.5%, but buy in a market where you might stand a chance of your capital value depreciating, or wait for the depreciation and then get a mortgage at a slightly higher rate? It's an odd dichotomy to be faced.
You think there might be a chance that capital values might depreciate? That's like a whole other...
Yeah, that could be a whole new podcast. It could be a whole new. Yeah, I mean, I think we've reached the top of our market here. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I mean, I say that knowing that we've had arguably our best month of the year.
You never see real estate agents say that.
We've said it in the past in previous podcasts.
It's always a good time to buy.
I mean, look,
not in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi's still going.
Very safe.
Still going to the moon.
It's the most absolute boring market in the world. I have a feeling that, we may have reached the top. I think if you look across the world, you see that the interest rates are so high. You see that inflation is rampant, not quite hyperinflation. But, I was listening to The Economist today, and they're talking that may be the case. I was on the way down to Abu Dhabi.
Oh, dear.
Here. And obviously they were describing... You can't watch TikTok and drive, Ben.
Oh, dear.
I mean, obviously, there is going to be a liquidity crunch. I don't think anybody is going to be refuting that. And obviously, with the liquidity crunches, mortgages become more difficult to get, more expensive. And when you arguably at the top of a market is now the right time to be buying. That's the question.
I mean, so you've done a hard pivot from interest rates to we're at the top of the market. I mean, the UAE market fell all the way from 2015 to 2020, maybe even into 2021. Dubai's had a bit of a resurgence then. Abu Dhabi's, kind of just stabilized. You think we've still got, because I was hoping that we'd have like a bit to grow.
You can't say we've stabilized. I mean, what you've seen, sure, Abu Dhabi has, but what you've seen in Dubai has just been phenomenal.
Bitcoin in reverse.
Exponential growth. And a growth at a speed that most people with any common sense would say was unsustainable. You can't have a market increase in value by 50% over 2 years unless you're Bitcoin or you're NFTs, but we'll talk about them another time. It was an unsustainable growth. I don't think anybody would disagree with me in that respect. And what happens when you have rampant and unsustainable growth is you just go past the ceiling value of whatever it is, whether it's real estate or gold or cars or whatever.
But the counter argument would be
withdrawal is what we're going to see coming soon.
Sorry, the counter argument would be so we hit a peak in 2015. We dropped from there, where perhaps people were because of the oil price a bit down on real estate. But then once people suddenly saw wow, we need villas, and because of the pandemic, and we kept our jobs, and so they kind of reinvested into real estate, and maybe it kind of came up to where it would have been. If it hadn't dropped.
I mean, I would also be the first to agree with you that Dubai real estate was hugely undervalued. But not by 50%. And there's the spring. But anyway, that's not a market trend. That's my market opinion. The market trend.
But what do you think interest rates will do? They'll depress the market. I mean, higher interest rates.
Yeah,
I mean, you deal mostly with cash buyers. Right?
Yeah, but look, I mean, I'm doing my second mortgage transaction this year. I don't tend to get clients who buy with mortgages, but that's not to say it doesn't happen. I mean, I would say probably 10% of my transactions, because I deal in 15, 20 million dirhams up to 400 million dirhams, very seldom, because they're people's primary residences, do they mortgage them. They like to have that level of security that if the world went to hell in a handbag, nobody could take their house away from them. So from the mortgage side of things, it's not going to affect me that much. But from your standard, mid-level broker, I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but at the mid-level market,
Typical
thank you.
broker.
The mid-level typical market, I think you're going to see a definite tightening of people's belts.
Well, I mean, it makes investments less profitable when interest rates are higher. If you're an investor and you're buying and you're borrowing to buy, and it makes, if you're an end user, borrowing obviously more expensive, probably still cheaper than renting, whichever way you cut it, unless you're buying something with a very low yield. But obviously it does make people think twice if they're going to pay more for their mortgage.
Over the long term. But then, it's fixed for 3 years. So, are you making a market play to say, okay, well, I'll fix it now for 3 years and let's see what 3 years looks like?
Well, and if we have a global recession, it's likely that interest rates will come straight back down again, because people tend to cut interest rates in a recession, so people borrow more, so people get the economy going. So
this is true.
People are saying that maybe even the Fed hike has actually precipitated the USA going into recession. What we might see.
I think it has done.
Well,
I think most economists that you talk to now will say that it's inevitable in the
Well,
US.
then they'll cut rates again, and we'll have to see what happens.
So this would be a short-term issue.
Maybe.
What about Abu Dhabi?
I think Abu Dhabi uses a lot more mortgages than Dubai does. We've got a lot more mid-market. We don't have so much high-end the way that you guys do. We've got a lot more purchases by, I guess we call professional people out here.
Yeah.
Not, super wealthy business owners, that Dubai.
I mean, you have a lot of the percentage of your market is owned by a lot fewer people, shall we say. You have more wholesale investors, shall we?
No, I mean, to be honest, I thought that, but actually when you look at it, there are not very many big, in the investment zones, there are not many people, big guys who own 20 or 30 properties. It's mostly people with 1 or 2 investment properties or end users. But there are a lot of investors out there, but they don't tend to, have a large number of units.
And how do they feel?
Buildings, perhaps.
How do they feel about the market now?
We're going to see the effect that these interest rates have, because I think it will depress the market because it makes it less attractive.
Your market has only just started to resurge, as you just said.
Yes, that is true. Well, we'll have to see how it goes. But hopefully it won't affect it too much, but it's going to have some effect.
Do you think it's going to be an effect on volume of business, or do you think it's going to be an effect on your top line, the value of the houses?
Not
your top line. Well, it'll be an effect on your top line anyway. But do you think it's going to affect the volume of transactions or the actual volume of the value of the houses?
I think both go hand in hand, right? You got less buyers, means that prices, will be affected. They'll be depressed if there are less buyers. There'll be less people making offers, and
as well.
Less appetite. Yeah, prices will have to go down. But I think Abu Dhabi, it's got it's an undervalued market. Fell for a long time. I think it's got a lot of potential, a lot more upside than most global markets at the moment.
Yeah, it showed its stability over time.
Yeah, it has. We see any other trends in the market right now? Bitcoin had any effect?
Bitcoin had its day. Not very many people are buying in Bitcoin anymore. A lot of the Bitcoin guys actually have what's the best way to say, retired from the market for obvious reasons. They've lost more than 50% of their value. We've seen that across the board, and there was a huge.
Were they buyers?
There were a lot of buyers. There were a lot
crypto
of
bros.
Crypto. We've sold a couple of houses to crypto guys. They didn't do the what is it called, a wallet to wallet transfer. They did. They cashed in their Bitcoin into fiat, real money, and then paid with that. So
did
there
they get
was
mortgages?
No cash.
They bought all cash. Okay. So they're pretty safe.
Well, they're safe now. Yeah, but obviously a lot of these guys were holding money. So they were big into the market here, but obviously they've all taken a step back. I don't think there's any guy who can put his hands up and say I'm up in Bitcoin or crypto at the moment.
There are some, but you need to get in pretty early.
Yeah, very few. So no, not. I mean that's one change that we've seen with the cryptocurrencies. Other than that, I mean it's status quo. There's definitely a slowing down in our market. There's definitely in the Dubai market. There's definitely.
You said it might be seasonality there, right? But people wanting to buy before summer.
But it's been ongoing. I would love to say it's only been over the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, but it's been before that. But then, as I said earlier on, I don't know if you heard me, but as a company, we've actually had our most lucrative month. But this was so many chickens coming home to roost just happened to happen in the same month. We've had comfortable months, nothing like the last 2 years. I wouldn't go anywhere near as far as to say lean, but then all of a sudden everything's come home to roost now. And I wouldn't be the only person or the only agent in Dubai to say it's a little bit quieter out there. Could be seasonality, could be all of the overlying features or features that we've just spoken about.
A lot of people are worried about a global recession, right, and how that'll affect, the
Quite
UAE.
rightly.
But the oil price, very high at the moment, the Gulf region looking very positive, with high oil prices means Saudis have got money, Qataris have got money, Kuwaitis got money, UAE, nationals got money.
Abu Dhabi's got money.
So everyone's got money.
Dubai doesn't have that much money.
And that's great for Dubai. For Abu Dhabi, the oil price itself being high is great for our
They're the bread
economy.
basket, right? So
Yeah, and so we would expect if it stays higher for longer that the government's going to start spending a little bit more. They're already really trying to push innovation and push things like industry.
do you think we'll escape a recession? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, if the oil price stays high, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Will the oil price
Which would
stay
have
high
the
into recession?
counter effect of increasing our population because people will be leaving
No, 100%.
economies
Yeah.
that are in recession to come into greener pastures. A flight to, what is it you say, a flight to quality?
Yeah. So, but oil price traditionally does drop sharply during a recession, but last time in 2008 it came back strong, and so that was a positive thing. So yeah, if oil price stays high, then that's Abu Dhabi's main source of income. So it shouldn't affect Abu Dhabi too much. And if it does, Dubai is obviously the hub, particularly for the Gulf.
Well, we have a lot more international
That'd be great.
brands, right? We have a lot more international exposure.
But tourism will be hit for sure,
Of course.
whichever way you look at it.
Although that said, my holiday let's going very well. Thanks for asking. We've
Spoke
not
about
seen
your
it yet, but
Airbnb a couple of months ago.
we've not seen any drop off in holidaymakers at all, even with the cost of flights going up exponentially.
Yeah, that's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how tourism fares. Etihad's hiring back pilots. Etihad's really
Same as-
expensive to
same
fly
as Emirates.
places because I think it's very popular. Yeah, so hopefully
Lot to
they'll
unpack.
carry on.
Lot to unpack.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think it's probably time's up.
It's getting noisier in here.
Anyway, this has been Two Fat Brokers. I've been Ben from Abu Dhabi.
I've been Barney from Dubai.
Thanks, and see you next time.
Bye.